Before I get to your Thursday complimentary play on the Mid-American Conference game between Ohio and Western Michigan, let me backtrack a couple of days since I haven't been here for the video report since Monday and talk about that Monday night game between New England and Buffalo, where once again I delivered yet another top-rated 15-dime NFL best bet winner on the Patriots. Now, was it a lucky win? Absolutely. And are we allowed to have lucky wins? You betcha we're allowed to have lucky wins, because as many times as we get beaten in the final minutes, as many times as we have those heartbreaking, soul-crushing losses, we're allowed to win lucky. Now, you know my philosophy. I believe that over the course of the season, over the course of the year, we actually win those games more often than we lose them. But when you suffer those back-breaking losses, you don't want to hear that the glass is more often than not half full than half empty. But back to that specific game, I can't take credit for the win. The Patriots really can't take credit for the win. We owe all the credit to that win to my wife. Yeah, my wife. Listen, my wife has this thing involving the Patriots. It goes back to the Super Bowl game against Seattle a couple years ago. I'm sitting in a Walmart parking lot listening to the final minutes of the game, knowing that I had lost money. The whole company on the Patriots that day had lost money, and I was depressed. And my wife says, well, maybe Seattle will fumble the ball and the Patriots will win the game. And I'm going, it's just not going to happen. I'm explaining to her what's going to happen. And little did I know that she had a direct conduit to Pete Carroll's ear, and, well, you know what happened. So the other night, I'm watching the end of the game, and my wife walks into the living room, and she says, after, of course, she heard me mutter a few of my favorite obscenities about what was going on in the game as Buffalo's driving down the field, she says, these are Patriots? She's not always that observant when it comes to the NFL. I said, yeah. And she said, what's going on? I explained to her what's going on and how I'm not going to be able to cover the game. She asked me how many I had to win by. I said 14 points at least to walk away with the push, and it's not going to happen, as Buffalo and Derek Anderson's looking like the second coming of Bart Starr and Johnny Unitas combined, driving down the field. The Patriots didn't care. They're in a prevent defense. They were going to win the game anyway. And she says, well, maybe it'll be like the Super Bowl, and maybe the Patriots will intercept it and return it for a touchdown. And I swear to goodness, on the very next play, that's exactly what happens. I've come to the conclusion that when it comes to the Patriots, my wife is like the ultimate good luck charm. There is something going on between her and Bill Belichick, the Patriots, and she is like definitely money in the bank. So if you won money on the Patriots like I did on Monday night, and as you as a customer did on Monday night, it's all because of my wife. Seriously. Now, listen, I dropped my wife off at the airport last night. She took the red eye to Vegas. She'll be there for the next 8 days. I probably won't hear from her until she lets me know she's at the airport ready to be picked up next week. That's how it generally goes. I won't hear from her at all. Now, you know, one of the reasons they build these monoliths in Vegas is because there's people like my wife that just insist on playing slot machines and video poker nonstop. She doesn't win in Vegas. She should really just be betting games involving the Patriots. So maybe you can just like pass it on, pay it forward, and wish her a little luck, because it's really, at the end of the year, the profit and loss statements, it's ugly. It's really ugly with her gambling excursions. But anyway, as for me, the NFL tonight, I'm going right back with another top-rated 15-dime best bet on this game between the 49ers and the Raiders. Top-rated 15-dime best bet winner number 29 out of 45, and number 5 in a row over the past 2 weeks in the NFL, as I also cashed in with the Colts over the Raiders on Sunday. Listen, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I said about the Monday night game. These are two ugly, ugly teams. But the reality is this: it's a 50-50 betting proposition. Somebody's going to cover and somebody isn't. It doesn't matter if it's two good teams or not. I think it's a very winnable, very bettable game. And you get it for half price off, just like the Patriots on Monday night, just like the Colts on Sunday, just like the Chiefs over Cincinnati and Denver over Arizona 2 Thursdays ago by identical 45-10 scores, as I go for winning day number 72 out of 118 by using coupon code HALF. And the other big play tonight would be from handicapper Tommy Brunson, who's going for winning day number 12 out of 18, top-rated 109 winner number 8 out of 9. It's on Central Florida and Temple, a game I have absolutely no opinion on. You get it for over half price off by using coupon code Tommy. He's coming off a winner last night. Another $100 play that you got over half price off with Toledo crushing Ball State. So listen, the Mid-American Conference. Let me count the number of winners I've had in this conference that I put money on over the past 3 years or so. I can count them on one hand. It's a conference I can't win in. I know it. You know it. That's why this play, take it with a grain of salt. I like Ohio, -3.5 at Western Michigan. What does that mean? Probably not a hill of beans, but I like Ohio -3.5, and I would buy down the half point on the Bobcats. But here's a couple of good reasons I think to play Ohio in this game. So Western Michigan lost their starting quarterback early in the game last week against Toledo, and you know what happened in that game. Toledo just kicked the Broncos' asses in that one. So Western Michigan lost their quarterback. They turned to an 18-year-old freshman who was a very highly rated recruit, a 3-star recruit out of Missouri. For Western Michigan, that is a highly rated recruit. I mean, they're not going to get 4- and 5-star players, okay? Caleb Ellaby, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, first pass of the game, touchdown. He finished 23 for 28, 293 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, he was also sacked 5 times behind an offensive line that had only allowed 4 sacks in the first 8 games of the season. So that tells you that he held on the ball too long, and it showed that his inexperience. But here's the thing. Very nice numbers. When I tell you a freshman comes in and he goes 23 for 28, 293 yards. But the fact is that Toledo just walloped Western Michigan 51-24 in that game. So he was playing against a defense that was sitting back most of the game because the Rockets were up so big for most of that game. Tonight, it's going to be a different atmosphere, a different set of circumstances. Ohio's going to come in here, and Ohio is playing pretty good ball here. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. Their only loss in that time period was a 3-point loss at Northern Illinois. And that's a Northern Illinois team, you may recall, that just came off a 7-6 upset win at BYU in Provo this past weekend. And a Northern Illinois team that is 4-0 in MAC play this season. And the one thing that I looked in this game is the fact that Ohio is going to run the ball tonight, and I think they're going to be successful. Their starting quarterback, Nathan Rourke, he's an adequate passer, 61% completion, averages about 202 yards a game, 14 touchdown passes on the season. But they've got 2 redshirt senior running backs. I think it's Olowet and Irons. Between Rourke, Olowet, and Irons, these 3 guys have combined to run for almost, I think, 1,700 yards this season. The one running back averages 4.5 yards per carry. The other running back averages 6.5 yards per carry. The trio have scored 19 touchdowns on the ground. Well, last week, now granted, Toledo has a high-powered offense, probably the best offense in the MAC. But Toledo just absolutely ran like crazy against Western Michigan. Broncos gave up 515 total yards in that loss last week. But Toledo ran for 268 total yards, averaging 7.7 yards per carry. Ohio is coming off back-to-back home wins. 49-14 against Bowling Green, 52-14 against Ball State. In those 2 games, they ran for 392 and 411 yards respectively. 392 and 411 respectively they ran for in those 2 games. Ball control offense. They dictate the time of possession. They keep the pressure on the opposing quarterback. They keep them on the sideline as well. I think that is why Ohio can win this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Ohio is on a roll here. I also think this is a Western Michigan team that's going to have its confidence shaken because, remember, their starting quarterback last year, the same guy who was their starting quarterback this year, when he got hurt last year, late in the season with a shoulder injury, the final 4 games of the season, Western Michigan collapsed, losing 3 out of 4, finishing 6-6, and missing a bowl bid. Here you go. They were on a roll, playing great ball, had won 6 straight games. They get annihilated by Toledo. Talented quarterback, Last year, a freshman came in, unable to lead them. A better quarterback this year, perhaps, but I just think this is a tough spot for him. So I'm going to go, once again, with Ohio minus the points, and I'm going to buy down the half point as insurance. That'll do it. Wish you well. Talk to you again tomorrow.